Brad Spielberger on the Rich Eisen Show. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
It's not good for Jimmy Garoppolo today, however. So a 2-game suspension, which means the Raiders can void some guaranteed money. Brad, how much is this 2-game suspension going to cost Jimmy Garoppolo?
It's massive. A little bit over $11 million.
$11 million for a 2-game suspension.
Yep, because there is contract language that if he fails, the PED testing and that is suspended for that reason, they can then void these guarantees. They obviously were going to move on this offseason regardless and avoid another $11.25 million payment in a roster bonus. So, yeah, what could have been $22.5 million is going to be zero.
Okay, so that's expensive. I hope he had a note. Well, clearly he didn't have a note from the doctor. If he had a doctor tell him that it would be okay, that would be a fascinating legal battle, but we'll save that for another time. He is not on your top 150 because he was still under contract. Brad, where would Jimmy Garoppolo go on your top 150 now that, as Ian says, he's going to get cut because they're out of the guarantees?
Yeah, we probably will get some cap casualties on there in the near future. Chuck Secor in Pittsburgh might hop on there in the next update. Look, it's actually a pretty good class at quarterback, which is a very rare thing to say. You have Kirk Cousins, your Gardner Minshew's, your Baker Mayfield's, your Ryan Tannehill's. So maybe he's in that range, QB5, QB6. But, I like Jacoby Brissett, some of the other options as well. Not even that high for a guy that's been a starter for a very long time.
All right, so Jimmy Garoppolo is going to slide his way onto the top 150, which you can find right now on PFF. Before we dive into the top 150, and by the way, Chris Jones is number one, the Chiefs defensive tackle who played on that reworked 1-year deal and hit a lot of those incentives, including $1 million for making it to Vegas with the Chiefs and making it to the Super Bowl. Yesterday, Cody Whitehair, Eddie Jackson out. A couple of days ago, the Steelers started making their cuts. Who are some other notable names? And we realize that, Brad, the Combine's coming up in 2 weeks, and sometimes agents and GMs can sit down and rework deals. But who else could be a big-name cap casualty?
Yeah, I think some big names that are also interesting because of potential draft implications. Like one that jumps out to me is with the Arizona Cardinals and DJ Humphries did tear his ACL at the very end of the season. Not why I'm saying that. Also think just with the Paris Johnson selection last year, his play kind of fallen off a little bit on a third deal. Maybe he was a name. And now if they do move on, I know everyone thinks Marvin Harrison Jr., but maybe they go out and get a Joe Alt, get an Olu Fashanu, go a different direction. So he's interesting to me. The running backs are always going to be interesting. We talked Joe Mixon pre-show in Cincinnati. Maybe it's a pay cut, not just a straight out cut like we saw with Aaron Jones the last couple of years with Mixon himself. But those running backs are always interesting. And then, of course, the other quarterback, we're all waiting for the domino to fall with Russell Wilson in Denver. Seems like the writing's on the wall. They obviously had the whole back and forth and the debate, speaking of grievances and legal battles and all that. I think he is still the name to watch before March 13th in Denver.
All right. There's also David Bakhtiari. His number is like 20, but the question with him is, can he still play? Does he have to retire? Does he just go and play with Aaron Rodgers? Do the Jets even want him? But what about, and this one's interesting because he got paid 2 years ago, coming off an injury. What about Michael Gallup?
Yeah, he's a very interesting one. They go out and make the trade for Brandon Cooks. Like you say, he did get paid on that torn ACL. And I actually love the thought process there, the idea of, take care of a homegrown guy that had been a very good player, a good deep threat, good body control, and footwork near the sideline. You just haven't seen that same explosiveness from him. So again, a guy for me where I think maybe it's just we'll give you a pay cut. We want you to rehab in our building and build up your strength in our building. And they're not great at receiver. Like I love Brandon Cooks, but he's now more of a number 3. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb is CeeDee Lamb, but yeah, he is a guy that I'm sure when you got to pay Dak Prescott 50 plus, CeeDee Lamb maybe 30 plus. Next offseason, Micah Parsons might be the first $40 million per year defensive player in NFL history. Everyone else is on notice.
9.5 is what the post-June 1 cut would be for Michael Gallup. Right now, he has like a top 5 cap hit at wide receiver, considering they're about to bust into the big money part of that deal.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.